Hello, Millwall fans. Paul Eiffel here. It's time for Chat with Chaps.
Post-match analysis for Chat with Chaps, where I can't believe I'm saying this, where it just finished at the Den, Millwall 0, Middlesbrough 3. Back to reality with a bump, wasn't it? I'll be honest, even in a month of Sundays, I didn't expect that result. I predicted either a 1-0 loss at home or a 3-0 win for us, and obviously got that very, very wrong. We'll go on to talk about it, and this is very much a gut reaction. I've literally just got home. Won't lie, I've had a few beers today, some things that we were kind of celebrating at the Den today, which will come out in the wash, nothing to do with the game. That I'm shocked. You don't lose 3-0 at home in your first game of the season. I'm sorry. And obviously, as the manager of the football club, Alex Neil will need to answer that. It's the first time that I've said that he needs to answer for something. So really, really poor. I think that you can. I say this a lot. Don't get too high when we win. Don't get too low when we lose. And I think that today is very representative of that. But losing at home 3-0 is not acceptable, in my opinion, and things need to be sorted out. Okay, let's go into the teams. So obviously this is a Middlesbrough team that if you watched our opposition preview, we had Dana on from the Borough Breakdown, and they were very pessimistic coming into this game. They beat Swansea but narrowly, and quite a poor game. Then they lost 4-0 at home to Doncaster Reserves, and I said it was either be an amazing thing and we'd go on to win comfortably, or it would be the worst thing that could possibly happen and they would have their towels up. And obviously, unfortunately, for us, it was the latter. Team for us was the exact same team that played against Norwich. In fairness, I'm no tactician. Probably with the same team that I played. Although I think as we go on to talk about the game, we needed to change our tactics and we probably needed to go 3 in the middle, but we'll come on to that. But we didn't. So the team was Bender in goal, right back Tristan Kramer, centre back pairing of Japit Tanganga, captain Jake Cooper, left back Alfie Doughty, Casper Denor, and Billy Mitchell in the centre of the park. On the right, of course, Kamil Negley. On the left, Femi Aziz, and then Mihailo Ivanovic and Josh Coburn playing against his former club, of course, up top. No place in the side for their new signing from Man City, who's rumoured to be very, very good. I think Man City paid 12 million quid for him, and no place in the side for him, and also no place in the side for Finn Azaz, who arguably their best player, along with Hayden Hackney, wasn't in the side. They make us switch sides, and to be honest, we should have known then, right? We should have known straight away. They make us switch sides that we knew it wasn't going to be a good day. But first 20 minutes, and it kind of smacked of the Norwich game, but in the reverse, we were all over them. They couldn't get the ball. They literally, I would imagine we had 80% possession in the first 20 minutes. But did we create anything? And obviously, Middlesbrough fans will be listening to this. We had a couple of corners. We won some free kicks. We had one slight chance with Kramer let his touchdown. Negley did well on 8 minutes, but nothing really. Coburn did well on 16 minutes. We were in a corner from their free kick, but they were just trying to slow the pace down. And then we had our best chance to go in front. Ball comes across the face of goal, and Negley, and it looked really quite close actually, but it wasn't. When I've literally just glanced at the replay, it wasn't close at all. Negley's header. I think that the challenge is that we took control in that first 20 minutes, but we didn't score. And in reality, we didn't really create a very clear-cut chance. I think he would go on to have a poor game, if I'm honest, but I thought Aziz had so many opportunities to get the ball into the box and he didn't deliver today. I'm not one here for criticising players, as you know, but I thought Femi Aziz in particular was ineffective today. On 24 minutes, Whittaker narrowly heads wide after Silvestre does really well against Negley and Crammer. Poor defending from them. Way too easy down our right-hand side. But it felt that was like a bit of a warning sign. Aziz gives the ball away, and Crammer, who had got himself in a really good position at the back post, has to run back, and then he has to take the booking. And from then on, he was walking a tightrope, and obviously he would go on to be substituted in the second half. But I've seen lots of people say, based on one game, Crammer's not a right back. I'm sorry, I fundamentally disagree with that. I think I've said it before. I've been convinced that Tristan Crammer can play right back, but no one played well today. Actually, one player, I'm going to call out. I thought Billy Mitchell was our best player, if I'm honest. I thought he... it's quite funny because where I sit, there's a lot of people behind me that scream, Billy, get it forward. He can only get it forward if someone makes a run, right? And if they're not making a run, he can't get it forward. But from my opinion, I thought Billy Mitchell was our best player today. I've written down here, Conway capitalises on another Aziz mistake, but blazes over the bar. Minute 35, I felt the game just really slowed down. But then we had a really good chance on 40 where Casper Denor, the ball's played across the box. He strikes it. It's going bottom corner, but Luke Ayling is there to block it from going into the bottom corner. It's a good block. I felt Luke Ayling, to be fair, as much as, listen, I don't like him. He's ex-Leeds, right? But I felt he had Aziz in his pocket, to be totally honest, the whole game. Then I do my statutory go down for a pint around 41 minutes, and I missed various things, including a penalty shout in which I think Tommy Conway got booked for diving. But yeah, I need my half-time pint. So, needs must, right? Needs must. And admittedly as well, ladies and gents, this is very off the cuff. I haven't done an analysis. I haven't looked at the patterns of play like I normally do. I'm out all tomorrow, so I thought, the only way to get some, I might as well get it out as soon as possible, as soon as I get home. Mrs. Chaps is downstairs waiting to go out tonight for dinner. So this is why this is quite quick and off the cuff. So apologies if it is a little bit rambly, but that's by design. So half time, and I just felt that we would just have this big kick up the arse because, in my opinion, and again, it shows you how I know nothing about football, that Alex Neil is very tactically astute. That's my opinion. And even after today, I still think that. And I don't think Rob Edwards is. Rob Edwards is he's a people man, right? He gets people on side, people want to play for him. But in terms of tactical, and it's just based on what I've heard and what I've seen and whatever, right? But I ain't my own words. Today, half time, who got their tactical team talk spot on? It certainly wasn't Alex Neil, because we lost that second half 3-0, which in my opinion is unacceptable. By the way, I just want to say, absolute pleasure to meet a few people again today at the ground. Mick, I think you come up at half time and you donated £10 to the charity. So thank you very much, mate. I really appreciate that. Good to see Dick as well. So good to see you, mate. So it's always good to see everyone. Roz, a friend of the channel. So lovely to see you all. And it was also great to see Jesper, who had come on from Denmark for his birthday to actually see today. And I just feel a bit bad that we put on that absolute shit show of a performance. But there we go. Second half, they score quite quickly after it. A really poor goal to concede. If you just watch it back, there were so many opportunities for us to win the ball back. Admittedly, and again, this is why I have to say this, I haven't seen the build up to the goal. All I've seen is Whittaker into Hayden Hackney to score the goal. It's a good finish, but it's just so easy. It's really poor from our perspective. It's a good finish from Hayden Hackney. I don't get his celebration. This whole thing in the ears, and he went right over to the crowd and started giving it. Now, don't get me wrong. If we've been giving it to him all game, he's more than entitled to come over to the crowd and give it. But we hadn't. Half our fans don't know who he is. So I thought that a bit weird. So he can do one, for want of a better word. Hayden Hackney, good player. Don't get me wrong, good, very, very, very good player, and that was clear to see today. But I don't know what that was about. Bender makes a save on 52. The knock-ins were on the door, and then 53 is vital, right? Because the ball comes into the box. The first good ball, in my opinion, that Femi Aziz has put in to the game. Or did he put the ball in for Denor? But let's put it this way. There's a lot of crosses into the box that weren't great. He puts the ball in, and then Koba, I mean, it's very, very unlucky. He hits both posts, and then it hits Ayling and bounces clear. Now, did we deserve a draw from today's game? I don't think so, if I'm honest. I felt the first half we were probably the better side. I've seen some tweets from an Alex Neil interview, and apparently he says we were the better side for 60 minutes. I don't know if I can agree with him. And I haven't disagreed with Alex Neil since he's been at the club. I think we were the better side in the first half, but I think the second half we weren't, and we were undone. And every single time they seemed to find time and space was in the middle of the park. They seemed to just cut through us, and there was always someone. I think Hansen come on the second half, and he changed the game. He was brilliant in the second half. I thought Hansen was very, 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 very good in there, very tidy. And I felt we needed an extra man in midfield, because I actually thought, I don't think you could look at Billy Mitchell or Casper Denor and say either of them had a bad game, but they just kept getting overrun, and there were so many pockets of space. And I'm not a tactician, I don't know, but to me it was crying out for another body in the middle of the park. And the fact that, Kundal doesn't get on, the fact that obviously Longo is a different type of player, that RBW doesn't get on, when to me it was crying out for someone to create something in the middle of that park, and it didn't. We have to make a substitution on 56 where Zach Sturridge comes on for Alfie Doughty. Appears to have done his hamstring. Obviously, really hope that it's not too much of a lengthy one out for him. I don't think he had his best game. He's played twice for us, but I don't think he was particularly effective today. On 63, Tristan Crammer and Josh Coburn come off. Langstaff and Leonard come on. Josh Coburn, I want to touch on him. I've seen Twitter on the train home, and I don't agree with we should never have signed him. He's had one game, right? Like, where you're basing it off one game. To me personally, Josh Coburn should be at the club, but today showed you where he needs to mature. He needs to be more physical. I've said that many times. He gets bullied off the ball too much. He needs to bulk up. He needs to get in the gym. He needs to be more physical. And the second thing is, he should be right up for it today. He should be closing everything down, sprinting out of his arse. He should be all over him like a rash, and I didn't think he was today. So I think he needs that physical element of just being a bit tougher. And I think he needs something mentally in terms of, do you remember when Kenny Jackett had the word with Morrison, where Morrison picked a player up the floor and said, no, you need to be an horrible bastard? That's what Coburn needs. And I genuinely believe he can go on to be a very, very, very good player for us. And I don't, Alder, we should never have signed him. I'm sorry, I don't agree. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. That's fine. But for me personally, he needs to toughen up a bit. However, having said all that, and obviously I'm jumping ahead here, but Ivanovic did nothing either. So obviously Ivanovic is everyone's love child, and absolutely right to be, because he's an excellent talent and we're very fortunate to have him. But you can't criticise Coburn and not criticise Ivanovic, because Ivanovic did nothing either. Now, either both of them had a bad game or they had no service, right? So it depends how you look at it. But to me, it just feels like at times we gravitate towards certain players and like, right, he had a shit game, and we completely ignore others. So Ivanovic did nothing. Coburn obviously had the chance, but against his former club, I expect a little bit more from Coburn. Langstaff and Leonard come on. I can only assume that they felt Crammer was a risk because he had to book him, because it didn't make any sense otherwise. And this is where I just felt that we just looked vulnerable. We huffed and puffed. Obviously, Maku comes on, and we just didn't really do much, to be honest. We didn't really create anything, and that's why I'm saying, the fact that Kundal didn't get on, the fact that RBW didn't come on, and they scored their second from a corner. It's really poor, really, really, really poor. I don't know if it's Cooper ends up on his backside. There's a bit of a scramble in the box. Jeff doesn't probably get close enough. They scored a second goal, and from then point onwards, it's kind of game over. Obviously, they get their third from Bergsorg. Maybe Bender could have done better, but ultimately, it's just really poor. In my opinion, that game was won and lost in midfield. Ivanovic hardly touched the ball. Neither did Coburn, other than the header. Conway had one through ball where he dived, and another one where he blazed over the bar. Where that game was won is in the middle of the park, and we lost that game in the middle of the park. And for me, that was they always. And again, like I said, please remember, I am saying this. I haven't reviewed the game. I am going purely based on what I've seen when I've had 6 pints. So bear that in mind, okay? But like, I just felt that they always seem to have an extra man, and we didn't change that. And listen, football's a weird game, you know. If we in that 20 minutes where we're dominating, we take one of those chances, or Casper's shot in the first half doesn't get clear off the line, it can change the whole trajectory of the game. But ultimately, we can only talk about what happened, and we've just lost 3-0 at home to Middlesbrough, who personally, I don't think they're going to be a playoff team. No disrespect to you Middlesbrough fans. Maybe it depends on the business that you do. I think you'll be a mid-table side, and we've just lost at home 3-0 to you. So if that's not a wake-up call, I don't know what is. We've had one shot on target. That is unacceptable. And I don't care what anyone says. Like I said, I've not heard the interviews, but from what I've read, Alex Neil's come out and said we were the better side for 60 minutes. I disagree. And quite frankly, I couldn't care less. You do not lose 3-0 at home and have one shot on target in your first home game in the season against a side that lost 4-0 in the week at home to a Doncaster reserve side. It's not good enough. I'm not going to sit here and blame individuals. Like I said, I've seen loads of blame to Coburn. I've seen loads of blame to Cooper. It's the usual suspects, right? That people like to gravitate and slag off and whatever. I'm not going to do that. In my opinion, I don't think anyone had a terrible game. I think Aziz probably was the one for me, pick of the bunch, in terms of it just didn't fall for him. I thought Billy was our better player on the day. But to me, tactically, we just weren't set up right. They always seem to have that extra man. And that's how they seem to create things and pick us off. And it just wasn't good enough. I'm hoping what this highlights to the club, you know, James Berylson and Mark Fairbrother, I'm hoping it highlights to you, we're not the finished article and you need to go and spend some money. I've said that for a while. We're not where we need to be. We don't have enough game changers off the bench. Again, that was evident today. We need a central midfielder that can create. If you don't believe that's Kundal, which you clearly don't because you didn't put him on, then we need another one, right? We need a central midfielder that can carry the ball and create, and we don't have that still. Luongo is very defensive. Denore quite defensive. Mitchell defensive. We need a central midfielder, like I suppose what you would call an old-fashioned box-to-box central midfielder. We don't have a central midfielder that can create, that's happy to sit in that too. And at times you need to compensate for that. So that's something that I feel we need. And again, off the bench from a striking standpoint, it's not enough. There's not enough. We need another centre forward. I've said this, and if it's not going to be in this bit, we certainly need another centre forward. So I'm hoping it highlights that we're not the finished article. Maybe it's a blessing in disguise. Hopefully the players get the kick up the arse that they need to go away to Sheffield United next week, who've also had a poor start to the season. I believe they lost again today. So yeah, listen, this league is bonkers. Everyone beat everyone, and I'm not naive to that. But you do not lose 3-0 at home in your first game of the season and have one shot on target if you're meant to be a top 6 side. That doesn't happen. So that's it, really. Yes, this is a little bit more emotional than normal. Yes, this is a little bit off the cuff. No, it's not a play-by-play. No, I'm not analysing things. But like I said, normally I would do this tomorrow when I've got a clearer head, but I can't because I'm out. So I wanted to get this out as soon as possible. So forgive my rambling. But as always, thank you so much for listening. For some reason you do, so thank you. It was a pleasure to meet a lot of you today. Middlesbrough fans, if you're listening, please give us a like, give us a subscribe. We do appreciate it. And remember, every single thing that we do all goes to cancer research, as you can see just popped up in the corner there. Really thankful to the Middlesbrough fans last season, actually, because when we did our collection day, that was against Middlesbrough, and you were very generous. So thank you very much to that. Yes, we'll leave it there. I don't believe it's a midweek game this week, but I'm trying to line up another interview. So keep your eyes peeled on that. We'll see how that goes. And I just want to say thank you very much for listening. The channel continues to grow. And so thank you very much for your support. I'm going to take Mrs. Chaps out now for some drinks and dinner. Thanks for listening. And of course, I'll see you at the next one. As always, bye for now.
Hi, it's Steve Morrison here, and you're listening to Chat with Chaps, chatting Millwall, come rain or shine.